My wife has a very large pocketbook, and I am not above stuffing stuff in said pocketbook because there is no way I'm going to spend $8 on a candy bar that I can get at CVS or any grocery store for under $1.
Yeah, now the only problem is that I've tried that.
Yeah.
I've had many girlfriends, and they've had many purses and pocketbooks, and I've also had jackets with pockets. The only problem is I found by experience that the food that you bring into the cinema doesn't taste as good. It really doesn't. So I've actually, now I don't go to the movies that much. The only time I go to a movie other than rent the video or Netflix is when it's, say, an epic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to see it like Jurassic World on the big screen, Star Wars on the big screen. So seldom. But I've basically made the decision that when I go to the movies, I eat first, go to the movie, maybe get a soda, and watch the movie and leave. I just, in other words, bringing in your own food, it just doesn't taste the same.
Well, that brings me to another question. If you can't make it for 2 hours without shoveling some type of food in your head,
I can't.
There's that other problem. If it's just mindless eating, do you really need to do it? And I'll give you the soda. I've brought bottled water. I've heard stories of people throwing PBRs in their pockets. So beverages are required for that length of time. But food, if you can't make the 2.5 hour movie time, yeah.
No, yeah, you're exactly right. No, I think the whole thing with the food anyway is tradition. I mean, unless you, like you say, you really have a problem.
Yep.
And you can't go without. Otherwise, the candy, the popcorn, it's a tradition from when you were kids, which is a tradition from the 50s. In other words, it's one of those, American rituals.
If you want to talk tradition, I'm the youngest of 5 children. Stuffing stuff in other people's pockets to snack on later was the tradition when you went to the movies because you couldn't afford the 47,
Right.
Think about it. 5 kids plus my parents, that's 7. 7 buckets of popcorn, 7 sodas. My father had to take out a loan every time he took us out to anywhere.
I mean the whole idea of eating at the movies.
Oh, exactly.
Is a long held tradition created, I should say, not endorsed, created by the theaters themselves.
Exactly.
And the most insulting part is that is the exact same box, is the exact same portion, is the exact same amount of snow caps or dots that you can get at the dollar store for sale for $4.50. It's the exact same thing.
And the worst part
I think that's where they get their stock.
And the worst part is, to me, now, maybe it's only me that notices this, but when you're watching a movie, if there's battle scenes and things like that, that's okay. But when it settles down to some quiet dialogue and you hear the sound of all this crunching and chewing and, it sounds like, the blob creature making its way under the seats or something like that.
Yep.
During an important scene in the movie.
That's me sitting behind you.
I suspected as much. But yeah, that doesn't do a thing for my enjoyment of the movie. It really doesn't. So if anybody feels obligated to eat in the cinema when I'm in there, don't feel obligated. Stop it.
Well, before we go on a break, I got to take one more topic, one more slice out of this conversation. When I sit down, when I do actually go to the movies, I am very loud and ignorant until the movie starts. So when I'm talking to my wife or whoever I'm there with, my nieces, nephews, whatever, I am literally yelling at the person who's sitting right next to me. Not like cruel, but I'm just talking very loud.
Enthusiastically, just...
Yes, I'll get up, I move around, I joke with people. I'm pleasant, but I am loud. So people don't want to sit near me because they're figuring during the movie...
Same thing.
He's going to be loud and he's going to talk through the movie. Well, as soon as the lights dim, I shut the heck up, and there's no one sitting near me where I don't have to listen to the chewing and the slurping.
Now, that's some decent strategy. Now, is this something that you came upon by accident, or is this something you formulated?
Just the type of person I am, I'm loud to begin with when you get me in a public situation. And I've noticed, especially at movies or wherever people want quiet, they tend to gravitate anywhere I am not.
Right.
So one day it hit me. The only time this has ever backfired was when I went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
People figured that I was going to be the loud one throwing stuff around, and then when I piped down during the movie, they're like, what the hell?
That you disappointed them.
Exactly.
No, I know what you mean, though, as far as the loud before the movie, because I run into that a lot when it comes to science, like Star Wars, things
Yep.
like that. When you have, a lot of our fellow, science fiction and fantasy.
You can
nerds,
say the word nerds.
I was just getting to it.
Oh,
I was
okay.
our fellow fantasy science fiction nerds.
Okay.
And a lot of us are noisy before the movie. Smart-ass comments, rambunctiousness. But you're right. And a couple of times I've warned off that. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Then they're quiet. You can hear a pin drop as soon as the lights come down.
Exactly.
Now,
Well-
not to sound too much like, the miser that I am, but with cell phones and technology these days, I cannot believe the amount of people that pay good money to see a movie and stare at their cell phones the whole time.
Yeah, that's
why
why-
not just take $50 and toss it out the window?
Yeah, why not?
Unless you're bootlegging it for later use on the internet.
No, I'll give credit to our fellow science fiction and fantasy nerds. It happens less in that environment.
Well, these people have been so strung out on either that epic, that series, that
Right.
that genre, or that house of movies or whatever,
Right.
where they're so strung out on it that they don't want to miss
A second. No, it would be
Because-
disrespectful to be on your phone while you're watching that movie.
I mean, you have Star Wars people that have studied these movies to the point where they can tell you how many times someone blinks during a scene.
Yeah, they've
I'm
studied.
not kidding.
No, they've studied the movies to the point where they will cause the actors involved to put guns into the roofs of their mouths and blow their brains out with the questions they're asked.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, with that in mind, why don't we take a break? Here's a little something that was submitted from California, actually. The name of the band is The Rhythm Coffin. The name of the song, My Baby Digs Me. You're listening to My Night Out Radio on Rhode Island Free Radio, and we'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, My Night Outers. DJ Psycho Eddie here. Of course, George and Tony in studio with me. Probably by next week, we're going to actually start getting some visitors and some guests in again.
Yeah, very good.
However, there was an event that happened all weekend that I did want to bring out, the Neela Fetish Fair Flea Market. They always falls on Valentine's weekend. It is the largest low-cost event for the BDSM community in New England. Thousands of participants, vendors, and literally they're coming all over the country, Canada, local, international people coming in. They have presenters from all over the world coming in as
They're
well.
swarming in.
And that was at the Crown Plaza in Warwick. I did not have a chance to attend this year. I have
right.
attended. No, I'm sorry. I George was saying earlier, the cold kind of nixed me on leaving the house in a G-string and a vinyl tube top. But I'll be back next
My
year.
vinyl tube top was at the cleaners.
But actually, it's just a tire. I just cut the beads off it. NELA, by the way, is the New England Leather Alliance. They put that on every year, or they are the main sponsors for it every year. I used to actually attend there when it was at the down in downtown Providence.
Club Decadence?
No, that was Decadence was a fetish night.
Right.
This is an actual where you can go purchase all sorts of appliances, clothing.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They do seminars on everything from the proper way to flog somebody to how taking care of your submissive. Some of these things are a little far fetched for the amateur. For people you just dabble in it. I go just because it's awesome, absolutely awesome.
Well, something there for people at every level.
Exactly. I mean, they have everything from like the little toy that everybody will use to something that no one could possibly handle, and I'm going to leave that to your imagination.
I've seen them. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, I've seen them too. I just don't. Yes. I don't need FCC knocking on
Tyrannosaurus,
my door.
Tyrannosaurus Rex couldn't handle it.
They were doing some construction. That was a road cone.
That's why it was orange. But this is all coming back to what I started off with the Valentine's Day weekend. Now, me personally, I am not a big fan of you telling me when I'm supposed to show affection or whatever to my significant other, being my wife. I don't need a special day to go all out and spend extra money and buy jewelry. I'll do that whenever I feel like it. I don't need, you have to do it.
Right.
So...
When I feel like it is never. So,
see, someone like Tony needs a little prodding every now and then. Not only is it something he should be doing, but he should be doing it at least once or twice a year.
But
well, he does Christmas and Christmas.
But this is one of those, and this is what I love. It's one of those holidays where you can slide the date. Well, you can't really slide the date on Christmas. Like, we're going to do it on the December 20th. But Valentine's Day, you have some leadway. You can go out at the most convenient time.
Right.
Well, one thing that a lot of people took advantage of this weekend, and I did hear a little bit of feedback on this, is something I have not yet done, not from a lack of wanting, I have to add that. It's the chocolate buffet at the Langham Hotel in Boston. Cafe Fleury, which is the restaurant that does this in the Langham Hotel, it's $42 a person. Basically, people watching is awesome there. If you want to see some people really going crazy with chocolate, it is beautiful. Sit against the wall and just watch. Not reflecting harshly on a subject that we talked about earlier, but there is not a time limit. They do have only 4 seatings, 11, 11:30, 1, and 1:30. They've been doing this for 27 years, only on Saturdays. So they only do it September to June. Now, the range of dishes, range of desserts from like mild to wild, some of it is very artistic, some of it is just chocolate pudding in a bowl or chocolate soup. Mm-hmm. But they have some very unique, very eclectic choices.
I'll tell you, I know at least a couple of women that could probably literally reach orgasm at this thing.
Bring them along. If they want to spend the $42, bring them along.
Well, I'm thinking of a perfect marketing situation here, and that is combining the chocolate buffet and the fetish flea market.
I don't think the Langham Hotel has thought of that angle yet, but I'm sure we can run that by the people at the Leather Alliance. By the way, guys, if you're listening and you do it at the chocolate buffet, let me know. But yeah, executive pastry chef Ryan Pike is in charge of that. They put out every week over 100 chocolate desserts combinations, and like I said, they've been doing this for 27 years. You don't have to do it on Valentine's weekend. You could do it, like I said, any Saturday between September and June, and it's just something to throw out there if you want to. Try something new and interesting, or at least, chocolate. How can you go wrong with chocolate, really? Unless you're allergic to it, and even then, I know people that are allergic to it that still go after it. All that chocolate, it's worth the scratching and the welts. Really, it is.
And if you need your chocolate fix, the next 2 days are going to be perfect for you because everything is going to be starting at 50% off, then 75% off, then 80% off, then they'll throw it back in the storeroom for next year.
Well, that was the other point I was going to bring out. Tomorrow is